Hello, and you're very welcome to the 42nd edition of the Take a Poll podcast with Andy Cummins and Declan Carroll. Thank you very much for listening as usual. And we always start with asking Dec how he is. So, Dec, how are you?
All good, all good. Fingers crossed Limerick goes ahead, but and Leopardstown tomorrow. I know you have us covered for a few selections for Leopardstown later on, but I genuinely think there's more hope of Limerick going ahead than Leopardstown at the moment.
The sun is splitting the stones here as we record on a Tuesday afternoon. So, it's not too bad. Look, the forecast holds. I don't think it's going to, though, in Dublin anyway.
You rain all day tomorrow.
It is Leopardstown, though, at least. You just run the meeting on the chase course, be fine.
Yeah, you could, but the only problem is it might waterlog. You might get standing water on the track. Whereas like Leopardstown just seems to be like a sponge. Oh,
exactly.
Limerick is gonna take it all in. It's just heavy.
Yeah, exactly. It's never off. Yeah. A proper industry card though, isn't it? All hurdles and a bumper. Students' Day as well. So with luck, they have a good day now, and let's say it's good out Students' Day to go out, isn't it? Wednesday.
Yeah, I could.
Thursday.
Go back to college now if you could go to every meeting and it was like this.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of fun. Well, we'll get straight into it then, Dec. Why not? The first race is the 2:00, the Molly's Late Bar Fillies Maiden Hurdle. Have you ever been to Molly's Late Bar, Dec?
No.
I don't think I've been.
In Limerick, yeah.
Yeah, I think I was in Costello's once, or Cotsy's for known as the locals, but I don't think I've ever, unless its name has changed. Wouldn't be surprised if we got a name change. It was sold to Hong Kong and had its name changed.
Evan O'Carroll's probably has a members card if it's full of students and if he's listening.
Exactly. Let us know in the comments what Molly's Late Bar is like and if it is worth a visit. Kind of a run-the-mill 4-year-old maiden hurdle for the fillies, actually. Nothing really special here, Dec. We probably have it as a match between Jeannie Macaroni, who probably would have won if it wasn't for a last flight error at Cork last time out, and Lady of the Loch, who had decent bumper form, daughter of Churchill, who's trained by Charles Burns. Who do you like here, Dec?
Yeah, it's the two of them. I'm struggling to split them, but we do know Jeannie Macaroni can jump. She was 8 lengths off Pigeon House. That would put her ahead of Dr. Nightingale here in this, so she has her covered. She has been knocking on the door, and she was unlucky the last day. My worry is though, they when it gets to this stage and they've had that many goals, they should have won. Can they, do they just chase horses? Are they professional losers? And it'd be a slight concern. Lady of the Loch, she won a tourless bumper, which Colcannon was third. But she was fifth the last day. I think she was a good bit off Shuttle Diplomacy now, who absolutely bolted up, to be fair. But there was still 3 horses in between them. So she could well improve for going hurdling. She would say she's by Churchill.
She isn't age yet.
Yeah, and they can hurdle.
Okay, they can. Yeah, usually.
Yeah. Look, it's between the two of them. I'm not mad to have a bet. I don't really like to advise anyone to go with one or the other here. Like, if I was to put up a selection, maybe I'd be taking the chance on the unexposed one, Lady of the Loch, but it'd be very, very tentative.
I absolutely would be taking a chance on Lady of the Loch. She was good on her debut, did what she had to do, was 5th then in the listed bumper, but it was only an 8-day turnaround, so it was asking probably a lot to go up in class and only have an 8-day break. Now, admittedly, she's only had an 18-day break this time, so they're getting runs into her. She, as you said, going hurdling debut, ideally you might have liked to have seen her come out in a week's time, just get a little bit more time in to recoup, but I trust Charles Burns knows what he's doing here, and if she's good enough to win a bumper and they thought she was okay to run a listed bumper only 8 days later, she should have the quality to be at least competitive here, and that's a lot more than the others can offer, maybe with the exception of Jeannie Macaroni. And in fairness, like Dr. Nightingale, like as you said, she won't be winning this with a mark of 102, you wouldn't think, but she has credentials to be at least placed. But no, for me it would be the Lady of the Loch. probably not nap at the top material deck. We probably learned our lesson in a podcast last week when we nap at the top a maiden hurdler, and that was probably on me as well. I was quite I know you fancied it, but I was the one that probably blabbered at the top there. The Bromhead horse at Nace.
Yeah, look, I suppose there was a lot of people kicking up a bit, and people asking us what do we think and asking us to call it out.
That's racing. It's really like
that's racing. We have found enough winners by watching these things. Maybe not as, it's always hard to really say what has been done or if something's done on purpose, but you don't always know when there's a drift. Sometimes the horse, the yards don't price the race up. The horse could possibly need a run. You just don't know. That maybe the horse was not bouncing that morning. It's difficult to say, but like I always have the opinion of we get them the next day.
That's it. Those who live by the sword, etc., etc. So
yeah, look, it's very difficult to say. Like they're animals, and I know it doesn't look good, but sometimes there can be genuine reasons. It definitely didn't look good that there was a drift in the stablemate one and Rachel rode the one that drifted. But like there may be reasons why Rachel rode. There may be reasons for the drift that came after declarations. We just don't know. I just take it on the chin. Like as you said, we napped the horse. We both backed the horse. I just take it on the chin and go, right, okay, into the notebook. I've something to work with now going forward, hopefully in the handicap.
That's it. When you're not winning, you are learning, I suppose. The horse in question was Jasco de Dan, by the way, last week at Nace, the 210 race, just for people that may have missed that podcast. We'll move on, Dec, to what appears to be a rival of yours, the D&J Glazing handicap hurdle. 80 to 102 here, the second race on the card. It doesn't get much easier for the students in terms of finding winners. A lot of duck eggs to be working with here. Many horses with completely out of form. You would take a quick look and you would probably think JPM is, good run last time out, second, up 3 pounds, but still only 5. Is able to run in an 80 to 102 where the top weight is only 97. Kind of suggesting the race might be a little bit weak for the grade. Plenty to like about JPM Dec, but that's probably where I'd be looking if it wasn't for one that I'll speak about in a minute. But who do you like here?
Yeah, look, I could see why you're automatically drawn to JPM, and it was the first place I looked in Inaugural 96. He was third here in his handicap debut, beaten 9 lengths in the trenches, was second that day. That was his handicap debut. He's a juvenile. He was then runner-up next time, and it was a lot of money for him. I think he is probably a nice enough horse, but he found one too good that day. San Guido or something, I think was the name of the horse. JPM was then second on his next start, the Panama Milan, is up 3 pounds for that. And look, I think he's going to have a good go at it. The 3 pound is probably harsh. It's not totally turning me off. It's more the fact I like another one in here. Guitar Spirit has been in the rear in both handicap starts. He has shown ability in maidens. Ran over 3 miles the last day though, and I'm not sure what the plan is, and might could bounce out and go forward now after 2 runs out the back in handicaps, but I'm not willing to take the chance. Ragman's Corner unseated on his debut before he was out the back in 3 maidens and a handicap. Hasn't always jumped great though. I'd want to see him jumping better now before getting involved. Boston Bingo, he may take another couple of runs for the penny to drop, but he's one I'd be putting into the tap tracker. It might be the next day, or could even be the day after that, but there's definitely going to be, the penny will drop and he'll improve. The one I'd be keen enough on here though is Camino Mission. His jumping improved for handicap debut the last day. I thought he was a bit of an eye catcher through it. You could say a troubled passage, hampered. He'd be the one I'm expecting the most improvement out of, and I think I'd be keen enough on him here now.
Okay, very interesting. I was just what was running through my mind while you were going through this race, the mayhem that's going to ensue when we finally get a bit of good to yielding ground in this grade, because when was the last time we ran on it? All these horses being handicapped on heavy ground. It's going to get even tougher probably when the ground changes. So that's interesting enough. Dec, great rundown as per usual of these 80 to 102s. No better place. And again, as we said before, I challenge you to find anyone better than Dec anyway at summarising these races, because there's not a person on this earth that is. Crow's 80 apple tart is the one I was looking at. 11-10 he's carrying. Lee McKenna claiming the 5. My reasoning behind this is the handicapper's giving him a chance in relation to his hurdles mark. Last time he was pulled up at Listowel on yielding ground, and I think it was at the Harvest meeting. Dropped 6 pounds as a result, down to 95. Now he's only an 81 rated chaser, but when I say this horse is afraid of fences, it's probably an understatement as well. He has course form, winning here last March March 23 about last year. He won off a mark of 93. He returns here off a mark of 95. There's every chance he's going to need to take a run, but given his likely odds and how out of form he is and his return to hurdles, which I think he enjoys much more, he could be a telephone number price. And if the market's speaking about him, he's one to keep a close eye on. I will probably back JPM as well, though. So I think he's going to be very hard to beat. But Crow's 80 apple tart. Handicapper's giving him a chance back to hurdles. I think he is well worth a little each way bet at what I would think could be, I don't know, 33 to 1, maybe a bit bigger. I could see him being a big old price. We'll see though when the market does open. 310 Dec, the Camden Square novice handicap hurdle. Have you ever been to Camden Square? I won't. I'll stop going through the.
I've never actually been out in Limerick, to be honest.
Really, it's actually, I don't mind it. Yeah, I got a lovely chicken burger there once. Hannah still talks about that restaurant.
No, I've never been out in Limerick. So
I need to actually find the name of it. I'll give that restaurant
on the list.
That's it. Not a bad L City. We actually were in agreement on this one, Dec, aren't we? The 310 2-mile handicap hurdle. Who do you like?
Oh, it's Spavango. He was fourth here on his handicap debut behind Z-Band. Grace Faraday was second that day. He's just been, different to the ones we normally pick out. He's been slowly showing more and more each run. I think he can jump. They probably didn't jump on debut. The debut was probably awful. Really, really needed it. But he's just been coming along nicely. He's one you should be able to spot now. There's no real guessing about this. This is one you've been able to watch the improvement. I think he's a massive chance here.
Yeah, bottom weight. Jockey taking off 5 as well. Look, they couldn't give him away the last day behind Z-Band. He ran a beautiful race. Tom Harney rode him. There was a slightly more fancied stablemate in Cosmic Rock who he went by, and he was probably just a little bit too far out of his ground. The pace held up very well with Z-Band and Grace Faraday. We've already mentioned Z-Band, who very progressive horse. I think Paul Gilligan deserves a lot of credit. He's done an excellent job at that horse, won his last 2, and it's going the right way. Grace Faraday, you could make an argument, could win next time out because those two were well clear. Surf Club did well from the midfield area as well, but Spavango came from a even worse position and probably did best out of the closers. He was beaten, I think, 18 lengths, but at the same time, the first 2 were probably better than the grade of horses that they're up against, and I think it'll be subsequently proven. Z-Band definitely was anyway, given his maiden hurdle win and then following up in this race. I just think that, as you said there, the horse is learning on the job. Ran really well, way better than the finishing position suggests last time out, and I think he's going to take a hell of a lot of beating myself. So 2 confident nods there for Spavango, for Owen McCarthy, good old Owen McCarthy. With a bit of luck now, he comes back with a winner, and the students maybe can line their pockets with this one and enjoy their evening in Molly's Late Bar. Maybe we'll see. Running on then, Dec, to the 345. Unless there was anything you wanted to add to that 310, was there?
No, not really. No. I was just looking. He's rated 95. And, could have ran in the other race. I'd imagine I'd imagine both over 2 miles. I'd imagine he's not the biggest horse. And that might be why they've opted to run in this one. He's going to carry a lower weight. I'd say it's by design.
Yeah, 100%. Even more confident. The 2 mile 5 Supermax maiden hurdle is next, Dec. So you don't really eat Supermax as much as you probably used to. It's probably wood, fire, and wings since you started this podcast, and all the nice food you're able to order after the good days of Ferry House, etc.
Yeah, well, you remember that day at Punchestown, don't you?
I do very much remember that day at Punchestown.
George was I was wondering what we're going to eat. George looking for the wood, fire, and wings.
Tough. That was Morgiana Day, was it?
Sorry,
you think there was that Morgiana Day?
It was Morgiana Day. It was the day that the big Diane won the bumper.
I remember that. Yeah, we done our conkers that day. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
it was a tough day.
And the uncle was looking for the dearest takeaway to think of. So hopefully Thursday night it'll be wood, fire, and wings anyway. Supermax, I can tell you that much.
Where does Supermax rank on the fast food hierarchy? Would it be above or below a McDonald's or?
Oh, Supermax, I think, is awful.
Yeah, awful. It wouldn't be my. Yeah,
like McDonald's is just so solid, isn't it? Like
it is.
McDonald's are gourmet.
Yeah, McDonald's. You can always back McDonald's in the play spot. But Supermax needs to be on a going day. That's the problem. At its bare minimum, I just couldn't. You need a pace collapse for Supermax or something.
I don't know what you'd even order on Supermax. I don't know what. I know anyway, on O'Connell Street years ago.
Before we exactly, there still is. But before we lose a heap of followers from down the country, we better get into this. Get into this. Yeah, that's lovely. It's the best one. We better get into this maiden hurdle 2 mile 5. And I found this very hard, Dec. I have to sit on the fence. How do you like?
Oh, look, it could be between between 3. I have it, but I wouldn't be rushing to have a bet here. Coming up easy. Felvin going okay in the Ballybourne maiden, but like it was probably a good bit out, and he just ran away from him. Then beating 18 lengths before that. On Lover's Walk, second here in December before the third to Porter's Price. After that, like the form's not top class. Like it's not even sure the third is a place that day. It's okay. Then King Casey is one I think you should be keeping an eye on. Unseated in the ring the last day. That was in a bumper. It was 5 lengths behind Lady of the Loch.
Who we put up?
Yeah, we put up. Probably going to sway it for a selection, but not a betting race.
Yeah, no, totally agree. If any students here, you go to the bar for the 345, I would say it's not a race to be having a bet on. Next, Dec, the Iska handicap hurdle. Good name, the Iska. The water spelt in English.
The water, yeah.
Water spelt in English. It's not the UISCE. If my Irish spelling is still correct. 80 to 23. Again, pretty tough, but I do have if I had the gun to my head, would probably be Sarah Barra. Run to a good line of form. Only up a pound for finishing third over at the course in a grade 3 behind Bioluminescence Millstream Lady. I think that's a fair enough mark, 115. Again, there's probably stronger bets on the card, but I'd be leaning towards Sarah Barra. Who do you like that?
Oh, this is probably too classy for me, this race. I really struggled here. Lyndon Arden won a maiden at Punchestown and then was third in a handicap the next time out. You'd expect Lyndon Arden to improve and go close. Probably going to be short enough though. The Dasher Conway, he was ahead second off 114 in October at Ferry House. The third followed up since on the flat, the Rodney Boy, I think is the name of the horse. The Dasher Conway hasn't run since the 28th of October. I think that was at Cheltenham. It could have been a chase.
It was, yeah. It was behind Dancing on My Own, I think. 2 mile handicap chase. I'll just double check that for you now. But it was indeed,
I think I might have back to Dasher Conway that way. Look, I didn't put her up the last day, and she's gone up £4. But 8 on May, she was second the last day, and the handicapper has relented, giving her another £4. She started a winning run off 82. She won 3 second. She's up to 114. She's obviously been in great form this season. Maybe she'll go in again, but found it some really, really difficult, and I'd struggle to have a bet here.
Yeah, we were talking off air about the Dasher Conway. We just thought he might need to take the run, since he tends to need to take a run. But like, you won't see a handicapper that's taken a more severe drop in class. Like, he was carrying 10 stone 3 against the likes of Dancing on My Own, and there were some classy handicappers in that race. Obviously, not Long Till May ran that day. Unfortunately, not with us anymore. In Excelsis Dio as well. So like, some proper top handicappers, and now he's in off 118, so carrying his 11 stone 9 instead of 10 stone 3 as a result. But it's a severe class drop. Like, I'd say if you put this into context, it's probably, that was a class 2. Like, if this was England, this is probably a class 4.
But
so
he did run over hurdles the race before that, the same, only 2 weeks before that, and
well.
I'm still convinced he won the race, to be honest. I know it was a photo finish.
Yeah.
But I'd be backing him the next day now.
So would I.
Is he gonna turn up at Punchestown? What's he rated? Is there something?
118. That'd be a race. There has to be a race for Punchestown. There's a race for everything at Punchestown. Has to be a race over him. It'll be Sarah Barrett tentatively for me, and then Dec, you're very much entitled to be sitting on the fence. But I highly doubt you're going to be sitting on the fence for the next one. The Lochberger handicap hurdle, it's an 80 to 95 to 455 on the card. Back in your playground here, this is your level.
What's Lochberger? Is that another burger shop?
Is it? I have to Google Lochberger now. I wouldn't be. I'll let you. I'll have a look what Lochberger is while you're talking.
We have Supermax and a competitor, and then you're mentioning competitors of mine.
Exactly. Yeah, Lochberger's actually looks all right. It's in Limerick City Centre. I don't know. Maybe
you probably have that one in the afternoon and the Supermax then at the end of the night.
Yeah, you probably would. This actually looks decent. I don't know. It's maybe. Have you ever been to the Counter? Maybe have you ever like the Counter back when it was used to be in Dundrum? It looks similar enough to that.
I know. But no.
Anyway, we'll better stop talking about it. People think we're going crazy. Who do you like for the 80 to 95, the Lochberger handicap hurdle?
Look, I said the last day that Grace Faraday she was getting the hang of things, and I was confident she could win the last day, but she bumped into Z-Band, and I think she does have the hang of things now, and she's gonna go close, but she is up another £2, and like, it's similar to Jeannie Macaroni earlier. Is she a horse that chases horses? I'm gone a little bit cold on her, but like, I suppose the main reason I'm not putting her up here is I was very, very keen on Beaverstown Place last week at Clonmel, and I was confident enough we'd go through the card. He was dropped £2 in January for a run here at Limerick. He never went a yard. I was surprised he dropped them, to be honest, because after 50 yards, you knew he was struggling, and just totally put a line through it. He was getting the hang of things before that. So, look, as long as there's something that I missed, I'd be keen on Beaverstown Place here, and I'd say he's going to be a price.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Nowhere, third, nowhere, fourth, nowhere. As you said, you'll know after half a mile whether you need to go order another pint or not if you're on course. Grace Faraday obviously in here, Dec, takes a drop in class. I don't know if they'll probably try and ride her prominently again. Getaway Master obviously in there too. I would have it between either of them, and it's not very original. Obviously Grace Faraday, who we talked up about Z-Band, and then we're napping one that she beat the last day. Obviously a far more unexposed one that we're napping up. But Getaway Master, I always like horses that in this grade, and not in the 80 to 95 grade, when they're able to win, albeit off 81 and go up £12, but you're able to stay in the grade. I think that's usually a recipe for success in terms of being able to follow up. I think it's very important if you're able to stay in the grade in chances of getting another wins into you, unless you have a very, very progressive horse. But given what we talked about with our nap, I probably will tentatively just about side with Grace Faraday. I'd say you'd still get decent prices on Getaway Master and Grace Faraday. So maybe if you're at the track, do a little reverse forecast, possibly. Maybe even throw in Decs as well. Why not? Pop in the tree of them, have a bit of fun. Go mad. Why not? Grace Faraday for me, and then Dec, Beaverstown Place for yourself.
Yeah, look, I was bullish enough now about Beaverstown Place the last day. I know he's coming back to the track where he literally never went a yard, but I was confident last week. I'll have to stick with him.
Okay, no worries. On to the final race on the card, the Irish Stallion Farms EBF Mares Flat Race. Unfortunately, I've nothing to ask you about the Irish Stallion Farms because we're not breeders. But they're always a great sponsor anyway, so they do deserve their shout out. 12 going to post for the bumper deck. I wouldn't imagine you gave this too much time, did you?
No, and look, Leon Diamond was second at Leopardstown the last day to Magic McColgan. That form probably puts her ahead of Lady Gowner, who's in here from the same stable. But Harry Zani was second to Barnahash Princess, who
Primrose.
Primrose.
Okay.
who we've talked up a lot, and a little bit disappointing at Fairly House last week, but she was also second to Maury, and then after that, she'd be my selection, but I'd be hoping to not have to get involved.
Yeah, hopefully the job is done by this stage. Knocarena would be mine because she just looked like she needed a trip already. Stayed on well at Cork for Charles Burns again, so hopefully he can bookend the card with the winner of the maiden and this one here. I think she should have good place credentials, given that Willie Mullins and Gordon Elliott have a few in the race. She might be a each way price with a bit of luck, but I think the extra 3 furlongs and the experience that she has under her belt already might have her run well enough. That brings us to the end of Limerick Deck, the nap of the tap. I better write it out. I will write it out in a minute, but first I will just run through students of the capital who have Leopardstown on Wednesday. Hopefully it does go ahead with a bit of luck. I'm going to drop you guys a very, very quick Trixie. And this actually, I think this marks the top flat debut, does it? Really, really quick.
It does,
it does. Very good. I do prefer the flat. I do love looking through the pedigrees and whatnot. And, you know, it isn't easy when you're getting national hunt ground for the 2-year-olds and the 3-year-olds, etc. But it is what it is. First race, look, it's only an even money shot, so hopefully we get off to a good start. Rubies are red is the horse for Aidan O'Brien. Ryan Moore is going to take the ride. Third to Everlasting, who looks like a nice filly for same connections actually. Was in a back end maiden at Gowran in October of last year. She stayed on quite nicely under Gary Carroll. Ryan Moore takes over here. She's out of Red Evie, which makes her a full sister to the Arc winner Found. So I'd have absolutely zero doubts, obviously being by Galileo, that A, she'll handle the ground, and B, she'll obviously be very, very progressive. I'm very, very excited to see how she gets on, and I think this race was won last year by Save the Last Dance, who went on to win the Irish Oaks. So Aidan O'Brien does tend to run good ones on student race day. Rubies Are Red is hopefully the first one. The next maiden, the Colts maiden, I don't actually have anything in there. I'm very interested to see a few runners Inner Success.
I'm actually going to win.
I think this will win the Triumph Hurdle next year. No, I'm only joking. But I do love Success Day. It's the only son of Jeremy at stud, I believe, in Europe, or at least in Ireland and England anyway. I'm not sure if that cool company was standing in Spain or something that Richard Hannon trained. But Inner Success, I'm very excited to see how he gets on for a stallion who I think could go very, very well when he has his first jumps runners next year. But he's a 25-1 shot. He'll have absolutely no issue with the ground. His sire won the Derrinstown Derby trial a good few years ago. He beat John F. Kennedy that day. Remember him, Dec? I think he was about 1-4. So Success Day is a lovely, lovely grey horse. And this lad is actually a bay, so he's not following after him. But I'm very, very excited to see how he gets on. The next bet will be the top weight in the 215 Charming Star. Mentioned on a previous podcast that this horse would probably go back to the flat. Tom McCourt did everything he could to keep him after the previous owner wanted to sell him. They did keep him in the yard. He's won a maiden hurdle for them. Trip is probably going to be a little bit short of his best. I could see him being a potential, Saturday handicapper over staying distances. But if he was to be as good as I think he could be, I think you might want to see James Ryan, who's claiming the 5, to boot him out and try and make all the running here over 10 furlongs. I would imagine that the hurdles experience did absolutely no harm to him, and I do think he could be a little bit better than 83. Win, lose or draw is definitely a horse to follow this season. Finally, Dec, the last one I'm going to tip up to complete the Trixie. What do you call it? Sorry, Charming Star is about a 5-1 shot as we record at the minute. The final one, that's the one I'd be most sweet on the card, is in the 315. It's the Heritage Stakes listed race. Lord Masseusis for Joe Murphy, Gary Carroll taking the ride. Course and distance winner last year in Group 3 company, beating Alfred Munnings. Finished the season in a 7 furlong Group 2. You won't believe that, Dec. The Challenge Stakes, getting beat by Matilda Picot. Has no issue with soft ground, goes well fresh. I think is a horse that could definitely progress, especially with softer ground, into maybe a fringe Group 1, Group 2 type of animal in a mile division that, as of right now, lacks a lot of strength and depth. We'll have to see how the 3-year-olds get on. But he was a horse that won last season at the start of the season when he looked very wrong at the weights at Gowran. It does look like Goldana is going to take a lot of beating at the weight. She's about 6-4 as we record, but she just doesn't win very much. And I wouldn't really have any issue about taking her on. I don't think that form behind Brilliant and Alpharats at the start of the season at the Curragh is really much to write home about in this company. So it'll be Lord Masseusis at around 3-1 for me, which is going to round out a little Trixie from Leopardstown, as Dec is probably nearly falling asleep listening to
No.
Anyway,
writing them down.
Writing them down. Okay, and definitely nothing from you from Leopardstown. I don't think you were too busy cooking on Limerick, I think, was it?
I didn't get a chance to look. I didn't look at any of the race at all. But look, if I do get a chance to look later, I'll stick some up. But I'd be happy to follow you in.
Happy days. Well, with a bit of luck, we find a few winners there. I will get this up on the screen for anyone that's watching on YouTube that just did miss it. Spavango. Nap of the tap. There we go. So pop it up just for anyone that's viewing. Spavango, Nap of the Top. He's in the 3:15. 3:10 at Limerick, third race. So with a bit of luck, we send everyone home happy from student race day. But until then, Dec, Tap 43 should come quite soon. I'm sure there'll be plenty of racing. It could even be a flat one at this stage. We never even know. So just keep an eye on our Twitter, YouTube. Keep liking, subscribe, and following. We do very much appreciate all the support. But until next time, guys, that was Tap 42, and bye-bye.
Bye.